Hello friends, this video on Force and Pressure Part 11 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So with this we have reached towards the end of this lesson on force and pressure. So let us quickly look at some of the questions. Question number 1. Give 2 examples each of situations in which you push or pull to change the state of motion of objects. So let us first talk about push. So if you push a ball, what happens? When you push the ball which was earlier at rest now starts to move. So basically the ball changes its state of motion from rest to motion. So pushing the ball helped to change its state of motion. Next scenario could be pushing the door. So the door was in a different position. The door was closed. Now when you push the door is opened. So from closed to open. So you could change the state of motion. So if you talk about pulling, let us suppose you pull a trolley. So when you pull a trolley again, the trolley was earlier at rest and now because you started pulling it, now it is in motion. So its state of motion changed. Or when you pull a door, again the same thing. When you pull a door, again the door was at rest. Now the door started moving. It got opened or it got closed, whatever. So these are some of the examples where we see that pushing or pulling can change the state of motion of an object. Now when I say change the state of motion, it could mean that making a body move from being at rest. So initially a body is at rest and you make it move, or to stop a moving body. A body was already moving and you make it stop, or to increase the speed of a moving body. A body was moving very slowly but now it suddenly increased its speed. Decrease the speed of a moving body. A body was moving very fast but now its speed got slowed down. Or to change the direction of motion. So the body was moving towards right and now you applied a force and made it move towards left. So these are the various ways by which the state of motion of an object can be changed. Question number 2. Give 2 examples of situations in which applied force causes a change in the shape of an object. Yes, of course it can. One example is pressing a balloon. So if you take a balloon which is already inflated, you try to press it with your both hands from both sides. What happens? You see the balloon gets squeezed and it changes its shape from spherical to oval. Squeeze a toothpaste tube. So as you squeeze the toothpaste tube, the toothpaste comes out of it and also the tube keeps on changing its shape. So it is changing the shape because of the force which is being applied by you on the tube. Question number 3. Fill in the blanks in the following statements. To draw water from a well, we have to dash at the rope. Now if you want to bring water out from the well, so we need to bring the rope towards ourselves, and when we apply force to bring an object towards ourselves, that is called pull. So when we try to bring things near us, that is called pulling. A charged body dash an uncharged body towards it. So a charged body will always attract an uncharged body. Like you saw the example of the balloon which was rubbed on a cloth and it acquired some charge. So it became a charged object and then it could attract small pieces of paper, and those small pieces of paper were uncharged objects. To move a loaded trolley, we have to dash it. So if you want to move a trolley which is already loaded, you either need to push it or you need to pull it. The north pole of a magnet dash the north pole of another magnet. Now north and north, they are like poles and like poles repel each other. So they tend to go away from each other. Question number 4. An archer stretches her bow while taking aim at the target. She then releases the arrow which begins to move towards the target. Based on this information, fill up the gaps in the following statements using the following terms. So few terms are given here. Now we need to fill up the blanks using these terms only. So the first one is to stretch the bow, the archer applies a force that causes a change in its. Now how does a bow and arrow looks like? So this is the bow, and this is the arrow. So now when the person is, this is the person. So now when the person is trying to stretch it, in that case what is changing? The shape of the bow is changing, correct? So it is causing a change in shape. So we have already used this word. The force applied by the archer to stretch the bow is an example of dash force. Now what kind of force is being applied? The force is being applied with the help of her hands, and the hands are made up of, the movements of hands are due to the muscles present inside our body. So this is an example of muscular force. So this is also being used. The type of force responsible for a change in the state of motion of the arrow is an example of a dash force. Which type of force is causing a change in motion? Muscular force, right? Because we are applying a force with our hands, and a muscular force is an example of a contact force, because muscular force acts only when the two objects are in contact. For example, here the hand of the archer and the bow and arrow, they are in contact with each other. While the arrow moves towards its target, the forces acting on it are due to dash, and that due to dash of air. Now when you leave the arrow from the bow, so it keeps moving. So what all forces will it experience? It will experience a force due to gravity, because earth is always exerting an attractive force on all the objects. So it will exert one force due to gravity, and the other force would be due to friction of air, because as it moves through the air is always trying to apply a force which is trying to oppose the motion. And that is why you will see that after some time, it moves for some time, for some distance, and then it falls to the ground, or it hits the target, whatever. So this happens due to the frictional force exerted by the air.
Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.